Crosscast, episode 41, with Mardy, Lieth of Dragoncorpse.
Started. Ladies and gentlemen, it's currently 5:03 p.m. over here in Murfreesboro, Tennessee. We're actually descending into what will either be rain tonight or rain tomorrow, as we're really experiencing this time of year, our winter, which seems to be a late winter. We almost had a snowstorm breeze through, but instead this year it seems that Texas got the brunt of most of that snow. But welcome to episode 41 of the Anatomy Podcast. For those of you who did not get a chance to listen, last episode we had Kyle from Convicted Printing on the podcast, in which Kyle and Convicted Printing, they have a really, really good mission that they're trying to accomplish, a good objective goal. Printing and pressing merch, and also down the line, they are aiming to provide opportunities of employment and other means to former victims of human trafficking, which is really, really cool. And then on top of that, with Convicted Printing, they help bands like even my own project, not yet, but somewhere down the line. They help plenty of buddies of ours in the Florida scene, the US scene, and just the smaller underground counterculture scene print their merch for a good price with really, really good quality merch, or at least that's what I've understood so far. Shout out to Daniel of Total Deathcore for deciding to shoot us that opportunity, recommend Kyle, that way we can host him on the Anatomy Podcast. And ironically, tonight we host Mardy Lieth of Dragoncorpse and his other creative endeavors, currently being the marketing behind Shattered Earth Records, which is a newer thing, being cooked up in that relative scene. He is the guitarist for Path of Victory, which is really cool. So this dude's also a riff lord on top of everything he already does for Dragoncorpse. And then the freaking cream of the crop, he has a third project called the Russian Novel. Tonight, being that the Drakketh Saga, their first EP, Dragoncorpse's first EP, released as of yesterday with physical CD options that will soon be available through Total Deathcore and their means, their efforts, their sources. We will primarily be talking about Dragoncorpse from the perspective and the viewpoint of Mardy Lieth himself. Again, the vocals primarily for this project, but who knows? Maybe there are other things he contributes to in the band as well that we have yet to shed some limelight on. So, for those of you who are not aware, we have a formula that we try to stick to, but also try to make it organic as possible, because, you know, scripts can only last for so long. They can get boring over time. We have the first half of the podcast, which is more or less for people. So we'll be getting introduced a little bit more organically and authentically to Mardy Lieth. And then the second half of the podcast, we will really be talking about going headfirst into his efforts with Dragoncorpse, the Drakketh Saga, and hopefully, given the opportunity, we can do track-by-track lyrical analysis, dissect the first EP, the Drakketh Saga, from Dragoncorpse, and basically give you a little bit of information where Mardy is able to and is also willing about the near future and just everything relevant to Dragoncorpse coming in 2023 after today, you know. But for starters, let's go ahead and take it back a little bit. Mardy, how you doing tonight, man?
Yeah, good. You know, just as fine as I am coming off of a chest infection. But
yeah, and that's the funny thing too. We were meaning to get this episode cranked last weekend, but you know, because of that, which is unfortunate, Mardy was like, okay, we gotta take a step back. I gotta make sure that I'm not, you know, all fucked up and stuff getting onto the podcast. And I said, absolutely. Also that same night, I was like, I didn't want to do podcast tonight anyway, so that works out. But
yeah, fair enough.
As we descend into the podcast and descend into the session itself, right, we're learning as much as we can about Mardy Lieth. So, Mardy, if you will do me a favor, focusing primarily on Dragoncorpse, and from the earliest point on, in anything musically that you feel is relevant to speak about, any creative mediums that you've participated in the past, essentially we are getting our elementary introduction to you done real quick, and then we will dive into the rest.
Too easy. All right. Well, pertaining, I suppose, mainly to how Dragoncorpse formed and all that kind of stuff, and just a quick history lesson. So yeah, hello, I'm Mardy Lieth. I'm 31 years old as of Friday. I'm Australian.
Birthday,
Hey, thank you. So yeah, I'm Australian, born and bred, all that kind of stuff. Heavy Scottish heritage though, 100%.
Really?
So I hate the heat, which is summer right now. So yeah, been doing music like pretty much all my life, either from like a school choir when I was a young tyke, all the way to pop punk bands in high school, through to getting into progressive metal, dream theater, and all that kind of stuff when I was older. Pretty much after I finished high school, I went immediately into working and then did a 10-year cover band stint, where up to 3 times a week, if not more, I was playing other people's songs for money, like the shill that I was for 10 years. At which point, funnily enough, I decided to call it quits doing that right as COVID hit. So 10 years. My last gig was New Year's Eve of 2019. And then 2 months later, we were in lockdown. So fun. But after I finished the cover band stuff, I was like, oh yeah, I haven't done original music for however many years now, because of needing to be so dedicated and being so like available to be able to do cover shows. So near the end there, I was getting pretty tense about like, I need to do some original music. Like I need to do something that's like fun and interesting. So that's when I started looking for bands, which like originally that was, as you mentioned before, Russian Novel. Joined them near the end of 2018. Path of Victory actually joined them at the end of 2019, and so right before COVID and lockdown. So that was fun. So I pretty much decided, hey, I'm going to do original music, and then we couldn't play original music live, which then led me to doing covers again, but doing the covers that I want to do, because like you look at these cover bands and they're at a bar and they're playing like Sweet Caroline every night, or yes, Sweet Caroline or Sweet Child of Mine or something along those lines. And as much as it was fun playing those songs, it's like it's not what I wanted to do. And so getting into COVID, I was like, well, I need to keep my vocal chops up. So that's when I started doing just vocal covers of all the songs that I wanted to do, like Veil of Maya, Protest the Hero, all that kind of stuff that I wouldn't be able to play doing the covers band stuff. And so that was good. I started, I suppose, getting a bit of recognition from that, I suppose, like at least more so than what was happening from doing covers of the other stuff. So that was cool. And I suppose just skipping forward a bit, the real change into how Dragoncorpse formed was I was having a chat with one of my American friends, Lance, who I met through one of like the vocal groups on Facebook, who was saying, hey man, those like stupid videos that you do, you should do some Celine Dion. And I was like, yeah, that's a fantastic idea. I should do some Celine Dion. And this was right around the time that, Lorna Shore's To the Hellfire was like blowing the absolute fuck up. And so one afternoon, I literally, in the space of 20 minutes, I was like, you know what, I'm just going to do that stupid breakdown and then just add Celine Dion into it. And then we got from there. And I was like, yeah, this is stupid, but like, whatever. Like it was literally, I think out of all the videos that I've done, that was the quickest. Like I was just like, all right, splice the backings together, did the one take, and then was like, all right, cool, green screen, background, editing, done, upload. All right, whatever. This is probably gonna flop. And then that ended up like
blowing up.
Yeah, that was like everywhere. Like it was insane. Like to me, just scrolling through Facebook and then seeing my stupid face, like just all the time. And from there, one day I posted it in like, I think it was like Deathcore Snobs or something like that, like one of those groups. And from there, Chris from Beyond Deviation actually commented on one of the videos, just being like, hey, I've been wanting to do something dumb as fuck like this for a long time, because he loves power metal. And he was just like, yeah, so you can do both, so let's just put them together. And I was like, hell fucking yeah. And so from there, that was like, Chris was just like, all right, cool, if you're serious, we'll put it together. And I'm like, yeah, like I'm not doing anything right now. Like it's kind of like it's still lockdowns and stuff. And so yeah, like in what was that now? Yes, September 20, is it 2022? No, it would have been September 20th, 2011. That there we go. Yeah, September of 2011, we got all the fellas together in a group chat, and because Chris was the only one that actually knew everybody, everyone else was just like, hey, nice to meet you. Probably never heard of your projects before, to everyone else, and then everyone else is like, yeah, same, yeah. I don't know who you are. But yeah, it was pretty quick. Like everyone just sort of started melding together. Chris is an absolute machine when it comes to demoing songs and just getting the skeleton of the song out there. And so then yeah, that was pretty much how that how Dragoncorpse started. And so I suppose from there, like my main project since then has been Dragoncorpse, just because of the response and the traction. Like legit, out of any of the projects that I've been a part of so far, even the ones that have been like Path of Victory, where that they're actually already an established band with a following, yeah, this is the first project at least I've been involved with that has had, as you said, just like traction essentially straight from the get-go. It's like kind of insane a bit. No, nothing yet. Nothing yet. No. Can you hear me?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Oh, there we go. Okay, I can hear you now. Yeah. There we
go. Why was I being cut off? No, like when I first heard about Dragoncorpse, right? It was when you guys ended up releasing that Attack on Titan AMV themed video, and I'm like, just literally, what the fuck is this? Because it's just a perfect combination of those two, and I'm like, well, someone had to do it. It was always so strange, but that's, ultimately the reason why this session is occurring, is because I'm like, this is strange. This is heavy. In some ways, it's gorgeous. It's beautiful. Like, who would have ever thought that power metal, like just the ridiculous falsetto, just, like I can't do it. So I'm not going to try. But like those type of vocals being integrated into such heavy music, and therefore it's like, okay, how do you consistently keep a good balance with that? Well, you brought that to the table. So it's really cool to learn about. And it's so funny that like COVID ended up dooming a lot of opportunities for plenty of people. They ended up it ended up like just stopping major careers in their tracks, because many of these careers, many of these jobs, these paths that we're trying to forge, when all that happened back in that was like April of 2020 or something, when everything really just smacked down, like, okay, lockdown, pandemic, just wear a mask. Everybody was stubborn over here about wearing a mask. I was too, I will admit. Everyone was. So it's like, it was just such a strange time, and everybody was so uneasy. And well, over here in the States, it's like the moment it started, really, that's when things started to like hook up and get warm. And then especially if you, like me, were living in Arizona, it's like, yeah, the world is shifting, the world is changing, but nothing changes. You still go to work, you still do everything you need to do to just support yourself, or you lose that opportunity, because plenty of people still need jobs. And just all these strange mechanics that were going on, and like, at least for me personally, just a whole other nightmare separate from the pandemic. Like, as insensitive as that sounds, I promise I'm not trying to be that person, like, oh, but like at the time, I had fallen in love, and then the person who I had fallen in love with was trying to give an opportunity to, like, they decided to just leave last minute, basically without a word, and it sucked. So on top of the pandemic, it's like that was a whole situation. But I'll tell you what, people, it's the primary lyrical component behind most of my projects work, including the first song that's out now. And I'm not going to be that person and be like, oh, I'll go listen to my song. But that is, it's stuff like that. And it's ironic that so many strange projects ended up emerging from that, and they ended up being so great. So that's for starters. And thank you for providing us your speed run summary, just introducing yourself. Because I mean, for one, I had to be honest, I knew that Dragoncorpse was an internet project and that all of its members were based in different parts of the planet. I absolutely thought you were from the UK or something like that, which is so funny. Sure. Yeah, we'll go with that. And I love that you have the Scottish background and lineage. I love like your glorious beard, dude. I want a beard like that someday.
Oh, you too. Oh, I mean, you're almost like mine's only like a little bit longer than yours. So yeah. Oh yeah.
Only a little bit. I'm catching up. And I love that you have the Scottish background, because like that's a big part of my my lineage as well, is Scottish. My legal name being Douglas. But yes, sir. So it's awesome to have another Scott on the podcast, even if I'm not, full bred, just, oh, welcome to the podcast. My name is Sean Gross. I'm not from Glasgow, but I have buddies over in Glasgow. Shout out to Party Cannon. Absolutely.
Yeah, fucking love Party Cannon.
Party Cannon's so great. Yeah. My first in-person podcast was with them when they came through town to Nashville, and they've been awesome guys ever since. I'm hoping to visit Glasgow someday. So
hell yeah.
As we're getting more formally introduced to you, you've mentioned here and there, you mentioned choir classes, you mentioned cover bands, and eventually more cover bands as you were bouncing back and forth, trying to figure out what would be Dragoncorpse and your other efforts. So if anything, if you're willing to, let's go ahead and treat this as a documentary. Let's go to the earliest point that you're willing to go. Get us introduced to everything relevant to you, like where you were born, where you grew up. If you even want, you could talk about your birthday, like that type of shit. Because I want this to be your time, and I want to give you as much spotlight as possible. That way, I guess people aren't asking you these questions in person, and they'll have to come to the podcast and listen to this shit. So yeah, take it away from the earliest point on. Just take as much time as you need as well, unless if you have a time crunch. Otherwise, take all the time you need and just tell your story, man.
Yeah, too easy. I mean, I don't think anyone would actually come up to me and ask me this stuff anyway. But yeah, well, I suppose just Cliff Notes edition of the Mardy Lieth saga, I suppose.
The lore.
The lore, yeah, deep cut lore. So yeah, 1992 was born in. I can't even remember exactly what suburb it was.
Right.
I was born in Sydney. So Sydney. So I live in a place called Newcastle, which is approximately 2 hours north of Sydney. Okay. So for 31 years of my life, I have lived in a 2-hour 2-hour circle, or 2-hour radius, I suppose, from Sydney, Australia. And so, yeah, pretty much my early life, I can't remember like much of at all. I remember sort of some moments here and there of living in Sydney. Funnily enough, my family originally came from Money, but from for various, as the world does, reasons, that obviously wasn't a thing anymore. And so when I was at, I can't even remember, some age, ended up leaving Sydney to live in Newcastle with my father. And from then, that was like, I don't know, I want to say like 5 or 6. Okay. And then since then, so since 5 or 6, I've been living in Newcastle in various suburbs, moving around and all that kind of stuff. And so, yeah, I suppose just like keeping it more or less like music relevant.
Yes.
During primary school, I don't know if that's what that is, what the equivalent of that is in America. Primary school being like years 1 to 6, and
That would be
kindergarten.
kindergarten. There you go.
Is kindergarten
Wait.
literally kindergarten too?
Yeah. Well, okay, not 1 to 6. that okay, elementary school. That's what you're talking
Elementary
about.
school. That's the one. Yeah. So different words for different
Right.
countries.
It's okay. We're
So
learning tonight.
yeah. So yeah, in my equivalent of elementary school, yeah, pretty much. I went through the majority of that, not really giving a damn about music, like at all. I think I would listen to like really old, like because back then in the early noughties, late 90s, and all that kind of stuff, that was like, you had Walkmans, you had tapes,
Yes.
you had all that kind of stuff, and I think I had literally like a burnt CD of just like random songs. And so like while I didn't give a damn about music, I was generally always listening to music anyway, especially like walks to and from school and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Pop it on, listen to it. And a lot of that ended up being stuff like Bon Jovi
Okay. Cool.
and stuff like that. And like I don't know if I would necessarily say that I was like, oh man, this stuff like speaks to my soul, or like
Right.
I was born I was born in the wrong generation or something along those lines. It's just what I had there. And like,
Yeah.
so I definitely still have a fondness for Guns N' Roses, Bon Jovi, and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Just simply because, yeah, it's fond memories of like listening to it. But yeah, I wouldn't say that that's like really what grabbed me at the
Mhm.
time. But so hence me not really being heaps into music. I just
Right.
listened to it.
Now, if I may ask too,
Mm,
during elementary, because like I don't know, when I speak to bands before, sometimes they mention like different hobbies that they had or different interests that they did have at the time. And
mm,
this could be a quick summary too for both elementary, which would be primary school, and then middle school, which would be seventh to ninth, seventh
okay.
to eighth, like something
Yeah.
like that. Did you have any other like hobbies or interests at the time that, maybe back then you were daydreaming about pursuing now with good financial resources? And then, later along, music came along and you're like, yeah, I'll do that instead. That sounds so much easier. It sounds so much more realistic. It connects to more people, that type of thing.
Mm. Um, I was really into soccer when I was in primary school. And so just in Australia, we don't actually have like a middle school, high school split. It's
Right.
literally just element like 1 to 6 and then 7 to 12. So it's
That
literally
makes more
just, yeah,
sense.
high school and then primary school. Yeah.
Right.
And so yeah, I was pretty into soccer in elementary school. I tried playing it all the time as much as I possibly could, was really into it. I don't know if I necessarily had dreams and aspirations of playing soccer as a
Right.
job, but I really love playing soccer. And it was one of those situations of the coach for the primary school soccer team was the mum of one of the students. And originally we got along, but then after a match, I got pissed off once, and then I said, "Screw you" or something. And then just from there, like if there was ever a who gets picked for soccer, like
Mhm.
who gets picked to be on the competition team, I never got picked after that. And so this isn't a oh how dare they, this is a I suppose I was a little shit. Like, I don't know. Like, it's definitely like one of those things. But at the same time, what I will say is that I'm not the adult in that situation. I was like 8, so fucking give me a break. Like, if I was emotional about something, like, say this is one of the things for me about like I'm not a kids person. Like, I definitely don't want kids or
Ah,
anything along those lines. But there's a certain thing where I'm just like, if an adult is getting really upset with a child in a
yes.
situation, I'm like,
Be
you've had a
easy.
lot longer. You've
Yeah.
had a lot longer to sort of like
figure everything out.
manage your emotions. And so like when I see like parents like yelling at their kids and stuff like that, I'm just like, surely there's another way to go about this. But anyway, so my retrospective look on this situation now is that like yeah, sure, I was probably a little shit and I told like this soccer coach to fuck off or something along those lines. It probably wasn't even that. I was probably just like, leave me alone.
Yeah, I don't
I was probably yeah, and so like I probably because a little bit of added context, because I remember this situation pretty clearly in that
digging up memories. Let's go.
In the match, one of the opposing players was really good at just tripping my ass over within the rules of the game, and so I was just there wasn't really anything that I could do about it. And I was just getting frustrated like the entire match. I was just getting frustrated. And so, yeah, just at the end, they were just like, oh, maybe you just shouldn't play this game. And I was just like, bah! And then I just never got picked. Yeah. And then so I just didn't get picked from there. And so I was just like, oh, well, that sucks. And so that's pretty much where soccer died for me. And then, yeah, like pretty much from there, I got really into two things. And that was, yeah, joining the choir and learning how to sing and Yu-Gi-Oh! And so, like, as is the way with, I think, it's really interesting talking to other, especially guys, from the 90s. There's a few things that everyone was like really into, and it's like it's funny to sort of step through the ages or the arcs of like what people were into at the exact same time.
Yeah.
And it's just like, yeah, like Yu-Gi-Oh blew up. Magic the Gathering was kind of there, but not really for like the age group that I was in, obviously because Yu-Gi-Oh was like a lot more colorful and the TV show was out and all that kind of stuff. So we had that to sort of like go along with it. And so, yeah, in primary school, it was like, yeah, just like Yu-Gi-Oh! And some like Dragon Ball Z and stuff like that. Like everyone loved Dragon Ball Z. And so, yeah, I got into like the choir and singing and all that kind of stuff, and learning how to use my voice and all that kind of jazz. And like one of the first things was that like, yeah, one of the teachers just made comment. They're like, you have a pretty high voice. And I was just like, is that a bad thing? And they were just like, no. And I was like, all right, cool. And then I moved on with my life. And then we'll put a pin in that.
Yes.
That, and then fucking we'll revisit that later. Yeah. So yeah. Oh, yes. Is having a high voice bad? No. All right. Cool. Little did I know. So moved on from choir because like it was uneventful. We didn't really do much. Like we didn't have like talent shows or anything along those lines. So pretty much me being in the choir was literally just practice, just rehearsal for all of primary school. And then going forward to high school, started proper music classes in high school. I was once again a little shit and drew my music teacher had a little it was like a little yellow magnet that for some reason was just sitting on my desk. Like I don't know why, it was just there. And myself as I don't know what that would have been, like 12 or some shit like that, a 12-year-old, and with a like, I don't know if you guys have this over there, but it's like whiteout, like for if you use pen, like, yeah, you just white it out. I had like a whiteout, and for some reason I was just like, oh, it's a yellow magnet. So I just like used whiteout to put like a smiley face on it. And that started like my entire high school career of not necessarily the music teacher just hating me, but they obviously just thought that I was a fucking asshole. And so, yeah, because like I put whiteout on it and I was just like, oh, it's a smiley face. Hell yeah. And then at the end of the class, they were like, did you put whiteout on this, like on this magnet? And I was like, yeah. And they're just like, you go into detention.
Oh my God.
Yeah. And I'm just like, okay. And so that just started my high school of like, that them obviously thinking that I was like this troubled child or something along those lines. And once again, I'll take it back a step. It was just whiteout on a fucking,
it was just
like
whiteout.
It was just, and it was a smiley face. Like, if anything, I improved that magnet. It wasn't malicious. It's not like I was writing like terrible
a pentagram.
Yeah. Yeah, it wasn't satanic panic or anything along those lines. It was literally a smiley face, and from there, I was like, there was always this tenuous relationship with me and the music teacher from there, and it didn't help that, like, obviously when most people are in high school, they've got that sort of rebellious streak in them and all that kind of stuff, and as soon as someone tells them to do something, they automatically don't want to do it. So just from that as well, like it went both ways a bit, and that like, they were like, oh, obviously this is a troubled child that is up to mischief and all that kind of stuff. And I was like, wow, this dude's a dick. Like, seriously? And so my music classes ended up devolving into just
tension.
What can I do to just not do this class? And so it started my sort of distaste in general for jazz. Like, I don't know if there's like if the curriculums or anything along those lines are sort of similar between America and Australia, but like our music classes were like heaps, just like jazz, blues occasionally. I'm not a big fan of blues either. But so this is where that probably all fucking stems from, is just like these stupid music classes that I didn't give a shit about. And so went through like essentially just goofing off and trying not to pay as much attention to these music classes as possible. Which funnily enough, like as I said before, a lot of the teen angst that comes out in high school shows itself in a lot of people. And so like I through those music classes and trying to goof off in music classes, I actually met another bunch of dudes that also didn't really give a shit about music classes and stuff like that. And it was pretty funny in that it actually went through like an evolution of like, gateway bands and like going from listening to say, I don't know, do you know the band Jet?
No, unfortunately not.
Yeah, you might know the song. What was the song that they had that was like their Are You Gonna Be My Girl? Yeah. Okay. You're gonna be my girl. Yeah, that band, because they're Australian, I believe.
Oh shit. Okay.
Are they Australian? Fucking, I believe. I could be wrong. So someone could. Oh, surely they're Australian. If they've got 170,000 listeners from Sydney, Australia, and Melbourne, surely they're Australian. It doesn't actually say here in their bio. I'm pretty sure they are. Anyway.
Yeah.
Okay, I digress. So went from just at the time that was radio rock. It was in Australia. Jet was radio rock, and so I went from listening to nothing but Jet to getting introduced to, funnily enough, like Blink-182, all that kind of stuff, which was like, as you can imagine, from radio rock, like pretty much just a lateral step to just a different genre on the radio. But I thought that was the coolest shit at the time, as like, everyone sort of does. Like you start listening to something that's a little bit edgier than what you were listening to before, and that's
you're like, fuck yeah.
Yeah, oh hell yeah, I'm the coolest guy around. And so got hella into Blink, got hella into like Bowling for Soup and stuff like that.
Okay.
Got like funnily enough, I actually really didn't like Green Day, just simply because like this dude that was in high school that I thought was a fucking dickhead liked Green Day, and so I was just like, man, they must suck. And so to this day, I don't really like Green Day. And so they're all right. Like I'm obviously not sitting here just being like, yo, fuck Green Day, but like whatever, like I can take or leave Green Day. But yeah, funnily enough, that like evolved from like Blink-182 to sort of getting a little bit heavier from there, of like Red Jumpsuit Apparatus.
Okay.
If you know them, I don't know. Actually, are they even doing anything? I think they still play, but like Face Down back in the day, that was like, at least at my high school, that was an anthem. If you yeah, you listen to Face Down if you're an edgy teen. But funnily enough, like it went into Red Jumpsuit Apparatus, and then sort of similar-ish bands like them, and like Story of the Year,
Okay.
The Used, and stuff like that. Like I got hella into The Used and Escape the Fate and stuff like that. And then at some point, like that's where the sort of evolution, at least to a certain point, of like my music tastes and what I was listening to and sort of into in high school, sort of not necessarily stopped, but it definitely stagnated for a while until my old man pretty much said, "Hey, I know this guy in this suburb, like over yonder, that's actually doing a music production course. And would you be interested in doing that?" And I was just like, "Oh, yes," because at that point I was
Absolutely.
like, "Man, I don't really know what I want to do for a career," but like, you know, at this point I was really exploring music and like starting to get into like guitar lessons and stuff like that, and like definitely like starting to get the seeds of like, all right, cool, being a musician's pretty rad. And so yeah, I went and started doing this music production course, learning well, sort of the course was a little bit of a hack, a little bit like the guy spent half the time like mixing a song, and then at the end of it would just be like, "Oh, so for 5 minutes, do you have any questions about what I did tonight?" And it's just like, "Yes, everything." And then it's just like, "Well, yeah, we don't really have time for that, so see you next week." And and so, but what I will say is that exposure to different kinds of music and exposure to just the general process of like, even though I didn't understand what half the fucking shit the dude was doing when he was like mixing and engineering a song,
you're still being exposed to it.
Yeah, still being exposed to it. So there was definitely some stuff now that I'm terrible at mixing and mastering. Like the only thing that I'm actually decent at is vocals, but that's just because I listen to soloed vocal tracks like all the goddamn time. And so yeah, like but there's a lot of stuff there that I was at least exposed to, that I was like, all right, so this is like just general tips and tricks of how you use these certain things, or how his workflow of how he mixed a song and stuff, that definitely still to this day I have some not necessarily like workflows of my own, but there's like just in the back of my head, subconsciously I do stuff now, even though I don't mix and master if I'm doing demos and stuff, that I still do from there. So I did learn at least something. But funnily enough, the main thing that I'll say from those mixing classes is he was really into this band. And so you know Eurovision?
Yes.
Yeah, you know Eurovision. Yeah. So there was a Eurovision band that won, that he was like obsessed with. And at first I was like, what the hell is this? But it ended up really growing on me. It was a band called Lordi. If you know that band, Lordi.
No.
No, they had a song called Hard Rock Hallelujah.
Okay.
And so they won Eurovision. And like essentially, like it's since you don't know the band, yeah, do you know Gua?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. They were essentially just like Gua, but if Gua was like Kiss a bit.
Okay.
Like I mean, Gua aren't exactly like heavy or anything. Oh, heavy. But like yeah, it was essentially like Lordi was just like Kiss, but the vocalist sounded like he would smash like multiple packets of cigarettes before doing vocal takes. And so he had this really, really gruff voice. And I was just like, damn, at the time. I was like, shit, this dude's voice is insane. Like, how does he do that? And then like
smoke a pack of Marlboro.
yeah, just smoke a whole pack, a whole bunch of cigarettes and get like laryngitis or whatever the hell it is. So yeah, I got really like into that band as well, just simple because I was just like, damn, this is like shit that I haven't heard like ever ever before. Even like listening to the Bon Jovis and the Sweet Child of Mines and all that kind of stuff, it was just completely out there. Like
Yes.
the riffs and stuff were like, at least at that point, I didn't know, like, are very much into like the hair metal sort of scene and all that kind of stuff. And then the vocals were just completely different to everything else that I'd listened to. And so, yeah, I really started getting into them, which funnily enough, I don't know how it occurred, but it shifted from the really gruff vocals of Lordy to then getting super into Atreyu, just simply because of the vocals. Like my sister was essentially on the same path as I was, but because she was older, she sort of like transitioned to different stuff faster than I did. So she was very much into Atreyu, Parkway Drive, all that kind of stuff. And so when I was listening to this Lordy band, I think she was just like, man, those vocals kind of suck, but they kind of sound like Atreyu a bit. And so I was just like, I listened to it and I was just like, this doesn't sound like Lordy, but this is still sick as hell, especially with the harmonized guitars and everything. So like I got super into Atreyu. And so that then started the path of listening to Atreyu, Bullet from a Valentine. Who else? I'm trying to think of another
Mention
band.
Parkway.
Yeah. See, funnily enough. So it's one of these weird things where, like, if you're Australian, you're supposed to really love Parkway Drive. I don't really care. I don't really care about Parkway Drive. Like I like a handful of songs.
Mm-hmm.
And I respect the efforts and the hustle.
Yes.
But just in general, someone asked me like what my favorite album is, I would not be able to tell you. I think if someone asked me what my favorite song is, I could mention a song, but I probably wouldn't be able to tell you the name of like, I know a handful of song names, but at the same time, I'm just like, I don't know which one's my favorite. But
right.
Yeah. So I never really got into Parkway Drive that much, especially like, which was sacrilege in a way for high school because because like everyone was just like, no, you have to listen to Parkway Drive. Like, nah, not really.
Like hometown heroes, man. You're like, nah,
yeah,
good.
exactly. Yeah, pride. Yeah, and that was the same for we had this band called they are actually can't technically still around. There's this band called Short Stack, and and they were like a pop punk. It was one of those things where, like, I don't know if like you had it in like your scene when you were growing up, but definitely like in high school and around that time at the local like all ages shows and all that kind of stuff, we had like multiple bands where they were essentially like local scene sweethearts for like the scene chicks.
Oh, okay.
And so Short Stack was one of them, and I didn't even listen to them, but being a pubescent teen that was into like now heavier music and then seeing like that, but oh man, I fucking hated them. I was just like, man, you guys are whack. You guys are whack as hell. And it's funny to look at it now because I'm just like, oh, they're all right. Like, like they weren't bad. Like, but you know, you just get into that sort of at least from what I saw from my like teen experience, I was like my teen experience definitely was just like, yeah, like all my friends who listen to like sort of now heavier music, which is funny, like with the whole the meme of like you find like drop D tuning and there's it's the heaviest shit in the world,
right?
And, like
seriously.
there's always something heavier, and so like but I thought listening to Bullet and listening to Atreyu and all that kind of stuff, I thought
was hot shit.
I thought that was the heaviest stuff, and I was just like, damn, dude. And so like going to these all ages shows and then seeing like pop punk now, I was just like, yeah,
dude,
in. Like,
absolutely, man. Like with pop punk, especially when I was in high school, we actually had this band. They're no longer a thing, but it's crazy because they did a southern leg of shows from Arizona, because that's where I'm born and raised. That's where I'm from. That's where I'm returning in April. Shout out to everybody. I'm coming home, I promise. Even though I don't call Arizona the state home, I call the people home. So when I was in high school, and I was going to a high school called Red Mountain, and that's all I'm gonna say. It's a bigger high school over there in the Mesa area. We had this local called Baseline, and funnily enough, they were a lot. I don't know if you know the band Movements. They're on Fearless Records.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Movements, yeah.
So they were a lot like Movements, but they had an even more exaggerated, almost like UK or Australian accent with the way that the guy sung, right?
Okay.
It's like I mean, I describe it as a foreign accent, but it's just like the where are you, like that type of shit.
Yeah.
So same type of tongue, right? And they did a couple songs, they did an EP, shit happened and they split. But it was cool because when I was in high school and once I recognized them, it's like, yo, holy shit, we have band members walking around on campus right now, and nobody knew, nobody cared, because everybody was obsessed with the let's see, the chart toppers, you know what I mean, like Beyonce, Drake, all that shit. Everybody was already obsessed with Suicide Boys. There we go, that's a good example, because that's when this was really happening. So like everybody was everybody was like super obsessed with that. Everybody was about, you know, hard rap and, you know, just like lean lifestyle. We had 2 rappers on campus too. It was crazy, it was insane. But unfortunately, you know, I heard about the parties, and the parties, they were dangerous. They were dangerous. They were hazards even, and there was a lot of drugs. So, I'm definitely, I try not to associate hard drugs or harder drugs with that type of music, but unfortunately that was kind of the impression I was getting. So there was that, and I'm like, fuck all that. We got a pop punk band here on campus, and you guys are just fucking sleeping on this. They did that small tour that nobody fucking knew about, unless if you knew them, were introduced to them, and were actively listening to their stuff. And then after that small leg of shows, someone like had a sickness or something, and unfortunately they had to split. They were like, okay, we're done. We don't have time for this anymore. Even though we just went into the studio, recorded an EP, went on a small leg of shows, we're done. I'm like, what? Why? Where are you going? So it's always cool to look back on that and to kind of have a story to throw in there. But dude, hometown heroes, when you have locals that like are getting big, or, you know, with people that love Parkway Drive at your school, just like, nah, dude, you gotta fucking listen to this. These guys are like, they're blowing up. They're from here. Like, this is insane. Like, they might have gone to the same high school. Who knows? The hype is just there, and especially with younger kids, and even in high school, it's a whole different animal. Because you think of, you know, what if Beartooth was playing at their own Columbus, Ohio local high school at some point, and just imagine all the kids who have since graduated, since they were like in their prime and really just trying to cook shit up, and they're like, yeah, I went to high school with that guy. It's that type of story, and it's so fun. It's so fun to look back on. You were saying though.
I suppose just like bouncing off of that a little bit, I think I'm a little bit weird in that, like, and this is also why Parkway for me, I'm just like, is that, if someone's just like, oh yeah, you could have passed like one of the Parkway guys on the street, and I'm just like,
who cares?
Cool, man. Like, yeah,
people.
Like, because for me, it's like the hype around like bands and all that kind of stuff. Like, I get it to a certain degree, but there's like, unless there's something that I personally find interesting about the accolade, like it or Jit, or if someone was just like, just right now, it's a flavor of the month topic, and it's easy to sort of like relate it to for a lot of people in the scene now. If someone was like, oh, what if you passed Will Ramos on the street? And I would be like, I would want to have a conversation with him, because like the explosion of like him being barely known from like Awakened Providence and all that kind of stuff previously, to then being I can hazard to say being the vocalist of the scene right now, in the matter of like 6 months, 12 months. Like,
seriously, man, it's nuts.
It's fucking insane. And so for me, that is just like, that blows my fucking mind. And so, if someone was like, oh, yeah, would you fangirl and want to have a chat like about to him about stuff like that, I'd be like, fuck yeah. But if someone's just like, Parkway Drive are like the biggest band in Australia, and like, you know, what if one of their members walked by? I'll just be like, dude, I would not be able to fucking tell you. I don't know any of the members.
Right.
But then on the flip side, I feel like if you would be able to have a chat with the band, then I'd be like, ooh, yes,
yeah, that could be really cool.
That would be interesting to get the whole
conglomerate
whole sort of chat going. Yeah, and so it's like yeah, I'm sort of, I suppose I'm weird in that way. Like I need it to be a certain threshold of like the accolades of all what it needs to be for me to actually be interested. It's just like I played with I supported Unearth a couple of weeks ago, and one of my bandmates, the drummer, is like he's so I know one Unearth song, and my drummer, like his whole drumming style apparently came from Unearth, and he was like fangirling hard. And after the show, like we didn't really talk to the band members like pretty much at all before or during the show, and he's just like, oh man, they're up in the green room, you can go up to the green room now and have a chat with them. And I'm just like, about what? Like I know one song, like I don't know anything about this band apart from their metalcore OGs and Respect and all that kind of stuff. But like, what am I going to talk to these people about?
Like if you know, you're like, you recognize, because Unearth's another like local, you know, like to Australia, right?
No, they're American.
Okay, American. Yeah. Okay, so maybe sorry, I must have misunderstood that. So like, you know, you supported the band during a show, like with your own performance or something. So just for context, Unearth did an Australian tour, right?
And we supported them on one of their shows.
Okay.
For Path of Victory. Yeah.
Okay, sweet. So like, and it's not a weird thing, because you mentioned you're like, maybe it's a little bit weird. I'm like, no, dude. When you don't have a personal attachment after all these years, after doing everything that you've done to get to your point, when you're not personally engaged with them, when you don't know their music, when you don't know the people, when you haven't watched interviews, like when you haven't really devoted time to a band, it doesn't really matter how big they are. It's like, well, I mean, yeah, sure, I've heard of them, but that's it. And, you know, you maybe know a couple songs, and the guy's like, yo, if you want to, you can go and talk with them. And I mean, for me, I guess it'd be easier for me because I'm obviously very social. This is freaking podcast, and this is what I do, where I try to do as much as possible. So I talk with absolute strangers every time, no matter what, and sometimes halfway across the world, you know? So that, you know, that never has been an issue for me. But like, I guess I can understand in that situation. It's like, well, I've never really talked with any of them before, and they're fresh out of a show or something. Maybe they're tired, maybe they're exhausted. So it's like, okay, so this random guy who happened to be an opening act supporting the show, but doesn't really know the music, you know, what could be said in that small increment of time? What could be crunched? What could be sped run like a freaking Mario match, while they're like, dude, you know how, you know, like in their heads, they're like, we have so many more shows to go, but how are you doing tonight? You know, are you doing well? Did you enjoy the show? Thank you for opening and supporting us. You're like, oh, absolutely, dude. I have no idea who you are, but my buddy's like, oh, you got to talk to them. It's just it's a weird start to engagement for any conversation when it's not you wanting to personally engage. So I completely understand that.
Yeah, it just feels disingenuous. Like, and that to me, it's just like, I'm not gonna
cloud chasing even, bro.
Yeah, and it's one of those things of like, I don't know, like it's been this weird sort of like, people have mentioned like ego and stuff about it, of like not going to engage with this band or something because like somehow someone thinks that you think you're better than them or something. But like, as you said, it's like the personal connection. And for me, it's just like, it doesn't really matter how big the band is to me. Like, if I don't have a personal connection to it, unless like there's a natural segue to a conversation, I'm not going to go out of my way to do it, because like as you said, it's like they have tours, they have like upcoming shows and stuff, especially for vocalists and stuff. It's just like, man, after I've done like a bunch of shows, the last thing that I want to do is fucking talk. especially if I have more shows coming up, because my voice is just like it's stressed. Like I don't really want to speak, and so if someone wants to talk to me, it better be for a damn good reason.
Yeah.
And so and it's just like. Like it's interesting. Like it's to me it is 100% the natural segue. It's like if it evolves from just being guys in a room, like we played a show together. How's it going, guys? I'm Mardy. Nice to meet you.
Right.
If it progresses from there, from a topic, like if we wanted to talk about the show and all that kind of stuff, I would 100% get in there. And then from there, I would 100% be like, hey, so tell me your fucking story of like how you guys like got, and then like because like the thing is that I am pretty extroverted as well, and so like I generally do like at shows go out of my way to sort of introduce myself to the bands just like out of fucking nowhere and like anyone that's there, but like at the same time in the back of my mind there's always the dealie of like they might not want to fucking talk to me like at all. And so I always temper my introductions to literally just like, hello, I'm Mardy Lieth. I'm from this band. How are you going? Good. You guys need anything? No? All right, cool.
Bye-bye.
All right, I'm out here. Because like I just leave that space. It's just like, do you need anything? No, we're good.
Cool.
Are you gonna ask me something? No? All right, cool. Well, this interaction's done.
Exactly.
I'll leave. Done. And so it's just the so I suppose it's like, especially that interaction in particular where it's like they're up in the green room, you can go talk to them. I'm just like,
what who?
I'm just like, but and do what? Like I've already introduced myself. What do you want from me? Like
That's funny.
But then on the flip side, like so Protest the Hero did a small tour here a couple of weeks ago. I fucking love Protest the Hero. And Rhodey Walker is, funnily enough, like one of my main vocal muses, I suppose. Like his vocal work on Fortress and stuff like that was like mind-blowing to me when I was a teenager. And so when they came out, oh boy, oh man, like the last, like they were the middle band of the tour. Like there was the opener, they were the main support, then there was the main band, which was Pliny, the instrumental Australian band, or act. Once again, I don't give a damn about Pliny. I respect them, but the music I'm not really into. And so during Protest the Hero finished, and then I essentially just like left the performance area to just hang out in the bar because I just wanted to talk to Protest the Hero. So I was that guy at that show because I was just like, I need to talk to them. I need to have a chat to them about literally everything under the sun.
Yeah, Mr. Portagev, tear down this wall, you said.
And so like it's funny like looking at it that way because it's just like like Unearth, like one of the metalcore OGs, and it's just like, man, I don't give a shit. And it's just like, oh, what about this sort of semi-niche progressive metal band that like all the way from Canada land, and I'm just like, oh hell yeah, hook that shit up into my veins. And so but funnily enough though, the guitarist actually knew who I was, so that was a crazy thing. Like I was standing in the bar area, was grabbing a drink with some friends, and the guitarist came up to me and he said, "Is your name Mardy?" And I'm like, yeah. And he's like, oh yeah, I saw your Protest cover from like a year ago. And I'm like,
that's badass.
And I fucking I fangirled. I was like fucking I got like jelly legs and shit. I was like, man, fuck. I was totally into it. And then like we had like we had a conversation about like a couple of things, and then like being a musician, it's I don't know, I think I just have that sort of internal timer where I'm just like, all right, this dude probably has shit that he actually needs to do. And so like disengage because it's like, he probably needs to lug some gear or some shit like that. Like you've just got that internal timer where it's like, all right, this conversation probably needs to end, I'll find him later. But like he walked off, and then just like this random dude just like walked up to me, he's like, hey, good for you, man. And he walked off. And I'm like, thanks, dude. But So I suppose that's a bit of a segue in and of itself, in that, like, yeah, I went from these bands like, yeah, Bullet for Valentine and Atreyu and all that kind of stuff. And funnily enough, that was like the middle school sort of transition into getting later in schooling and then getting mixed into a different set of people in music class. And like funnily enough, with I don't know, because you guys like sort of, do you guys have like associated middle schools and high schools, or are they like sort of the same? Yeah. Because, you know, with Australia, when you go to a high school, unless you're like moving somewhere else to like a different suburb or like a different state or something along those lines, once you hit year 7, you're at that high school for the next fucking 6 years. And so essentially with most classes, like if you get put into a group of people for a class like English class or music class or maths or something along those lines, most of the time those are the same people that you're going to have for like for the most part for the next 6 years. And so like with music, it was more or less the same, except for some reason we had 2 music classes. But by the time that we got to, say, I suppose it would be the start of high school, so it would be like year 9 or year 10 or year 9 or whatever, there wasn't enough people doing music, so they just got rid of the second class and they just fused them. And so from there, that's like where I met a couple of new guys that one of which was like super into fucking like Iron Maiden and stuff like that. And from there, and from like just hanging out with him, like listening to like tracks that he had, oh man, yeah, that was like once again just another expansion of just like, holy shit, Iron Maiden fucking slap. And one of my fondest memories is literally just like finishing high school, going over to his and painting fucking Warhammer while listening to goddamn Iron Maiden. From there it was like, oh shit, like it doesn't necessarily have to be like angsty like Atreyu and Bullet for Valentine. Like you can just have like really cool guitar riffs, and it can be fantastical and it can be epic and all that kind of jazz. And then from there really like that the main sort of milestone bands, like I got into so much different music in that period, but like I suppose the milestone bands, at least for me, that sort of definitely started funneling like sort of where I was going, at least musically, and what I was interested in. Probably the next huge one was like Dream Theater.
Okay.
Yeah, getting into Dream Theater, particularly the Train of Thought album. That was my first sort of instant or touch for that band. And at the time, listening to Iron Maiden, listening to Atreyu and all that kind of stuff, Train of Thought was so fucking heavy, and it was so melodically diverse, just simply because it's like, yeah, probably it was the first music that I listened to that had fucking like 7-string like guitar and all that kind of stuff. And like, yeah, I was just like, holy shit, this is fucking heavy. It was like, damn. And yeah, from there, like it evolved from that into like Nevermore. Nevermore still being one of my favorite bands up to this point. And once again, Warrell Dane, rest in peace, being one of my main sort of vocal influences as well, just because of how much I listen to Nevermore. And the more that I practice like singing along, just like, yeah, the more little Warrell isms that are in my vocal performances these days. Yeah, bands like Nevermore and Adagio were like huge for me. But funnily enough, it was like while all of that was happening, that's when like the typical getting into heavy music gateway, that's when like we actually both stumbled upon Slipknot. Yeah, and that's I think that's just like the bingo card of getting into fucking heavy music, is that at one point or another you're gonna listen to Slipknot. Like it's one of those like I don't care how much of a purist or how much of a like OG, like I only listen to death type person you can be. You've listened to Slipknot. You've listened to Slipknot once. You've listened to Slipknot. Like, yeah, you've listened to Slipknot. You probably enjoyed it to a certain degree. Yeah, and so Yeah, that was definitely I became a Slipknot super fan for a while there. Like we both had like the Slipknot like logo necklaces and like those fucking like late 90s like early noughties like the fucking the button up shirts that just had like the
Yes.
full print stuff and it had like chains and shit like that. Yeah, I had one of
I
those.
miss
Like I
merch
had
like
one of
that, dude.
it was like, yeah, I had one of those and it was so unwieldy to wear, but I thought it was like the most badass shit. Um, and so yeah, like funnily enough, at that point, that's when I like attempted to like start screaming and stuff like that. But I don't know. I was just like, I tried it. I tried it a couple of times, and I was like, man, I fucking suck at this. And so I just kind of like left it. And it wasn't until I was doing like I actually started getting into playing like actually playing music with a band where yeah, I was in a pop-up band where I can't even tell you what the name of it was anymore. But like the first thing that we did was like play Bowling for Soups. Fuck, what is it? What's the song called? It's a song that everyone knows from Bowling for Soup, but I seemingly can't. 1985.
Oh, no, right. Okay.
1985. Yeah, 1985. I mean, Stacey's mom was like not too far behind in terms of like playing it.
I don't even know if
yeah.
that's a Bowling for Soup song.
Oh no, it is. Yeah, it is. It is.
Okay,
It is.
okay.
Yeah. So but yeah, 1985 was like the first song that I ever like covered, I think. And from there, like, yeah, that was all. Yeah, as you said, that was the where are you
Where
sort
are
of
you?
error.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just not enunciating words like at all. And so that was like a pretty, I don't want to say like extensive, but like we played quite a bit together. But at the same time, it was like it's such a foggy era because it was like I don't know, we kind of played, but we didn't really get like anywhere with it. Like I think we played like a single show with that band and stuff like that, and like nothing really actually happened. And
Was this a
so
cover band?
no, this was just like a pop punk band from high school. Like
Sick.
just playing all like yeah, like we had that we did that cover of 1985, but it was like everything else was just straight up originals like. And so I don't know, it was one of those things where like I don't feel that enough went into it for me to actually feel cemented in that field. And so from there it was like okay, playing in bands is kind of a waste of time, at least I thought at the time, because I was like nothing happened with this like at all. We did all these practices, we wrote all these songs, and then nothing happened with it. And so funnily enough, for the majority of high school I like didn't really do like much band stuff like at all, apart from like yeah, just every now and then just got together and started learning like just fucking around with songs and stuff like that with
Right.
like other dudes and stuff. It was like more like a jam band situation than an actual band. And funnily enough, like we actually did a cover of yeah, Red Jumpsuits, Face Down. And that's actually, funnily enough, where I actually started learning how to scream. Because I couldn't really get my head around how the fuck you were supposed to do it. But then just like during a practice, I just kind of did it. And then it was legit like one of those situations because like everyone else knew that I couldn't really do it. And so like we were doing it and then I did it and then everyone just stopped and they were just like, hey, you
Like,
did the thing. And I was
whoa.
just like, hey, cool. And then I tried doing it again. It didn't work. And we're just like, oh, fuck. We'll yeah, well, never mind. And then just like, yeah, it was definitely one of those things of like, we like every weekend we would play the song. Am I going to be able to do the scream or not? And then it was just the whole thing of doing it, rinse, repeat. And then eventually I could do it. And so from there, that like opened up doing like Escape the Fate covers and stuff like that. And so, yeah, I was actually like, my screams at that point, like especially my highs, were actually like kind of sick. Like, especially from the standpoint of, and this is the callback to before, I've always had like a pretty high singing voice.
Right.
And so when I was doing my high screams, they were like fucking like
Shrill.
pretty, yeah, they were shrill, but they were full. And and so it wasn't like a black metal sort of it was like it was sort of like, yeah, it was just like really like sort of Chelsea Grins, like playing with
Sick.
fire and all that kind of stuff. Like
Yeah.
that's like what I was fucking doing like back in high school.
Badass.
And so, but at the same time, the thing was is that I didn't have any
Recording equipment.
oh yeah, I didn't have any recording equipment, and also I had no exposure to that sort of stuff as well, in as far as apart from the original songs of like Escape the Fate, and then it wasn't the same. Like, so my screams at that point, I didn't realize that like I had something at that point. And so like, yeah, we were kind of just doing it, and went along for the rest of high school, essentially just like fucking around with stuff and not really doing anything with it. And then high school finished, and then it's like, well, I need to decide on if I'm going to go for a job or go for like, you know, extended learning and stuff like that. Am I going to go to university or whatever? And that's pretty much where like my original music sort of like died in a way initially, because like finished high school, majority of my friends like went and did their other sort of stuff. Everyone was generally too busy getting their life like in order after high school to like, yeah, get like, you know, organized jams and stuff like that. And so, yeah, like that's pretty much when it was like, all right, I'm gonna get a degree in like IT, because computers and stuff like that. And so while I was doing that, my old man was just like, hey, like, since you're just like still studying, like, why don't you do, you know, covers band stuff to like make money? And I was like, well, all right. So then 10 years of doing that, of playing like a whole bunch of I think I played over close to 2,000 shows or something along those lines.
Really?
Between, yeah. Oh yeah, dude. Because like, actually, let me see what is the so if it's 52 times 10, so that's 520. So if it's like roughly, yeah. So give or take, because I was playing roughly about 3 shows a week, and that was like pretty much consistent. Like give or take, like one week I might have 1, or another week I would have 3, or sometimes I'd have 4. Like on a Saturday I would play like an afternoon gig and then an evening gig. And like that's essentially all that I did while I was learning. And then after that, finishing my learning and then going into a job, I was still actually like doing this. So for a good while there, I was actually working like technically, like if you want to think about it, like 7 days a week, because I would finish on a Friday, finish work, go play a cover show, next day play a cover show, next day play a cover show, go to work. And so funnily enough as well, a while ago I went to go see a specialist about the white streaks and stuff like that. Apparently this is a result of alopecia from stress. And so I will say, don't do multiple years of cover shows while also working at the same time, because my mental state was not good. But anyway, I digress. So yeah, I did roughly 1,500 shows in that 10 years. And I mean, that because the positive is that I managed to pay off my house, because essentially the way that I personally did it was headset decided to turn off for some reason. Yeah, the way that I did it was essentially like my work money, like my regular day job, that went all of that essentially went straight to my mortgage. Like I didn't touch that shit. Like that just went straight to my mortgage, and I essentially just lived off of like the gig money. Because the thing is that covers bands, like if you do 3 shows a week, like especially if you do a solo show. So in Australia, it's like doing a 3-ish hour solo show is like $350.
Right.
And so Australian, so like I don't know if that's over there, it would be like $280, $250
Still
maybe.
good money.
Good money. So yeah, you do 3 of those, and then you've essentially are at minimum wage, like more or less, like if you're doing 3 a week. And so time versus the money that you're actually getting, fucking cover shows are like really good because you can do 3 shows and like essentially you can live off that. And so I was just living off of doing like gig money, and then just putting my work money just straight into my mortgage for like years.
Dude,
and that's
respect.
Well, one thing I will say though is that as a thing where I said before of like my family used to have money and then we didn't have money. So when I was a kid, like we were pretty like past being a toddler, like living with my old man, we didn't have money like at all. Like we were pretty poor. So like one of the things was when I was actually of age and like when I was making money through the covers and all that kind of stuff, and like after I made a certain amount of money, my old man was pretty much just like, hey, I don't have money, you don't have money, realistically, do you want to, like, rather than rent, like just us both pool our money and like go 50-50 in a house? And so so at the moment, like where I live in Newcastle, I actually live with my old man, but that's just simply because we both own half the fucking house. And it's like, because like the housing market is like shit. The rental market is shit, the housing prices is shit. And so it's just like, to me, it made the 100% most sense to just like own the house by any means necessary. And so like the whole thing of like, people have said like, oh, it's so great that like you've managed to pay off the house in such a short amount of time. But it's like, but it's only half a goddamn house. Like, so I'll temper some things about just being like, it was like 200 grand or something along those lines, because I managed to pay it off in like 2 years, or something along those lines. But at the same time, it's only half a house. And so but that was pretty much my post high school experience, was like doing that. Because I was like, pretty much a lot of people sort of go 2 ways about working in music. They either finish high school and then they dedicate themselves fully to building a career in like, either being an artist or being a mixing engineer and all that kind of stuff, and then hoping that they sort of make enough money to be able to live off of doing that. I kind of looked at it the other way, where I was like, I kind of need to get my house in order, for lack of a better term, I suppose, before I want to actually start investing time into doing my own music. Because like, if I get to the age that I am now and I was only doing original music and I was still paying off a house and all that kind of stuff, and then like I really wanted to like, go, like if I wanted to go on tour and it's like, well, shit, I still need to pay a mortgage while I'm on tour. Like, how am I going to do that? I was really just like, I need to get this shit sorted first before I can even really focus on like being a rock star in a way. And which is like kind of funny, because it's like, realistically, me being anyway somewhat known to anybody has only really happened in like the last 2 years, feasibly even just the last year, because like, I got some notoriety from like the Lorna Shore, Celine Dion stuff, and I had some small little blips here and there. Like I rickrolled Signs of the Swarm for their fucking for their vocal competition. And,
oh my god, that's funny.
Oh, they were G's for that as well. Like Bobby, the drummer from Signs of the Swarm, he fucking loved it. Like he was all about it. And so there was that. And then I also rickrolled the gent community with when Periphery's Reptile was really popular. I did like the first like maybe minute and a half, and then I just went into fucking Rick Astley. And that blew up. Like people loved that. And so, I had like these little blips, and then like the Lorna Shore video came out, and then people sort of started knowing who I was, like sort of like yes and no. It was one of those things about like someone would share it and then they'll just be like, oh, I've seen that guy before. Or because I was doing the whole like Anthony Fantano shtick thing, it was either like, why is Fantano doing these vocals? And it's like, it's not actually Fantano. But, yeah, like,
Right.
and so my people knowing who Mardy Lieth is like not like realistically, it's not even there yet. Like, I mean, people who like Dragoncorpse know who I am. But the thing is that for me, it's definitely like one of those things of like, you see people make posts and they're just like, oh, who's your favorite vocalist right now? And it's like pretty much it's always the same people. Generally, they're just like, oh, Phil Bozeman, now Will Ramos, and then fucking Tom Barber and all that kind of stuff. At least in the heavier scene, like a lot of people are like, those are the main
top
ones.
dogs.
Yeah, those top dogs. And then you'll get some like smaller ones every now and then. Like I'm seeing now Carl Whedon from Tactosa is getting a lot of I'm seeing that he's getting a lot of accolades, which he should. Because
absolutely.
he's very once again, just as a side note again, that the explosion of Tactosa right now is like it's almost surreal in a way, because it's like, because it feels like 6 months ago it was just like, I just remember like, because I actually sort of I wouldn't even say I'm acquaintances with Kyle. It's literally just like, I think that he just saw one of the fucking stupid videos I did and we just like chatted for a bit on one of those. And I think like from there, that's how I like learnt of Tactosa, and I was just like, oh yeah, cool. This is like, this is MySpace era, like deathcore. This is pretty cool. And then like it went from seemingly not many people knowing about Tactosa to them being a fucking rising force now in the scene.
Seriously,
seemingly
man.
Overnight. And it's like, it's like surreal, and it's just like, this is cool. Like I'm liking that this is happening, because it's something new. Like it's not let's talk about what Suicide Silence are gonna do now. Like it's just like, man,
oh, you got competition now, but time to roll.
Yeah, it's just like, and it's like, it's kind of the weird thing for me as well when people sort of get upset by people talking about Lorna Shore and like all that kind of stuff. And it's like, yes, technically what Lorna Shore are doing right now isn't groundbreaking, but there's a difference between being innovative and then just being a master of your craft. And like, and because the execution's everything. You can listen to like some really groundbreaking stuff, but like it can be boring. Like you can listen to like, oh wow, I've never heard some
too little.
It could be too. Like getting the mixture of the elements and stuff like that, and like the ratios of like what goes into it and stuff like that. And people will say, oh, a lot of the new Lorna Shore stuff is very one note or very samey, which I mean, like I can kind of see it from a certain degree, but it's like that's the product that they have concocted. And that's like that's what they're shipping. This is Lorna Shore. This is the product that we're giving to you. And so the thing for me, it's just like the reason that they're the top dogs right now is because they have the experience and they have the execution that they have now, especially with Will being the fucking vocalist like powerhouse that he is. They can deliver this finalized product of this is Lorna Shore. And so for me, it's definitely like it's like people are getting upset that they're like, oh, the band's overhyped, and it's like, well,
there's a reason they're there.
There's a reason they're there. Like it's like there was the explosion from To the Hellfire and with the Styles, which is nothing new. But the thing is that they capitalized on it.
They sustained that momentum.
They sustained the momentum and they kept going. And the thing is that if they sucked,
they wouldn't have gone anywhere.
Yeah, like that's the thing, is that people will be like, oh, this song's not even that good and all that kind of stuff. And it's like, yeah, but that's subjective to
one person,
your specific tastes. But most people will listen to like, To the Hellfire, and then they'll be like, damn, the three separate breakdowns, and then the breakdown at the end with like all of these different vocal stylings and all that kind of stuff. Because like the thing is that people will say X part,
Hello? Marty, you seem to have disconnected for a second. Oh, there you go. You're back.
There we go. All right. So, yeah, sorry. So, yeah, people will say like, oh, Dicky is the Goblin Kang, and like he does that sort of stuff better. So why isn't Dicky up there and not Will and all that kind of stuff?
And then Dicky came out and he's like, "Yo, I appreciate everybody's feedback, but also Will deserves the attention. He is kind of surpassing me in some ways." And they're like, "No, he's not. Infinite Annihilator forever." I'm like, "Okay, dude, whatever. That's that at that point, that is absolutely your opinion." One person I will shout out, like with those two in mind, you go to homie Derek of Nithful, man. Holy shit. I don't know if you've ever listened to Nithful, man, but like it's like the heaviest parts of Lorna Shore and Infinite Annihilator mixed into one. It's super anti-religious, but it's intelligently anti-religious, anti-god. So I definitely wanted to shout out him. Continue, sir.
yeah, no dramas. Yeah. So yeah, the thing is that people will say, like, yeah, oh, you're the Goblin King, you do this better than Will, and so it's like, yes, perhaps, but that's not what we're looking at. What we're looking at is the overall product.
Yes.
To the Hellfire, multiple breakdowns. The production was kind of, but it got people talking.
Yes.
That is one element of it, is that people were talking about it for different reasons. Wasn't just the one for months. It wasn't just the one thing. It wasn't just the snarls. It wasn't just it's just all black and deathcore sounds the same with like how like what progressions and stuff are used to concoct the songs.
Whatever, man.
It doesn't matter. Like that is what it is. That happens in every single fucking genre. Move past that. But that was another sticking point, was like, yeah, the progression of the song. Then there was Will Ramos and the snarls and all that kind of stuff. And the fourth one was actually just like, yeah, the fourth sticking point for everyone was like, yeah, I'm sick of people talking about the band, or like, this is fucking amazing and more people need to talk about this band. Because it wasn't just Will Ramos doing snarls. It wasn't just the production. It wasn't just the fact that there was some pretty actually dope like guitar solos and stuff on it. Like it was like there was some fantastic guitar work and all that kind of stuff.
It was the entire package, man.
Everything got put together and presented. And then there were multiple things that people could discuss about the song. People got excited about it and kept pushing it for different reasons. People that didn't like it pushed it. And then people who did like it picked it up from there. And all of this just
bounces back and forth, up and down the ladder.
And sort of like, this is sort of just relating it for a second back to like Dragoncorpse. That's kind of like where the traction sort of came from initially.
Yes.
For us, is that we started and we're like, deathcore power metal. This is how we are interpreting this mixture. Here's From the Sky. Hello, we're Dragoncorpse. And yeah, a lot of people sort of initially were just like, what the fuck? Like, is this? And then other people were just like, hey, no, this is really cool. Yeah. And yeah, people were just like, oh, this is actually really cool. And then other people were just like, oh, not for me. This is kind of cringe. And it's just like, cool. Why? Why is it cringe? Let's expand upon that. And so there was just discourse around, was it like, there was so much discourse around people just being like, oh, does it actually have deathcore elements? And it's like, well, you tell me. You tell me what constitutes
hardcore,
whether it has a
long-time fan. You tell me.
Yeah, you tell me. And then there would be like, because there's cleans in it, so therefore it can't be deathcore. And it's just like, no,
Wake up,
really. Yeah. Oh, but that's the thing. That's the thing as well, is that I like that there is an inside joke at the moment of, in deathcore, cleans weren't really a thing until Celine Dion was added to the Hellfire. If you look at the bands, and if you look at what the vocalists are doing, the elements that were added to it, after to the Hellfire, that's when we got Brand of Sacrifice with Exodus, I think it was, that has is it Exodus that has Spencer from Oh
wait, no. You're talking about Enemy If it's where it's
enemy. Sorry, sorry, enemy. We had enemy where it had the cleans there. Yes. We had kin from. I mean, there was already sort of semi cleans in Whitechapel before, but kin. There was so much more in that, and so like there's just this inside joke in like the Dragoncorpse chat and like the Dragoncorpse Discord and stuff like that, where it's just like, there wasn't really cleans and deathcore until this fucking like there to the My Heart Will Go On like came out, and I'm just like, I'm not saying anything, but because like the thing is that like that video can't really be discounted, and this is like one of my only points where I'll just be like, yeah, I did that, because like I try and keep myself as like not engaged in like what I'm doing outside of I'm proud of myself.
Yes.
Like, and so I don't like it's like the same thing of like calling people fans and stuff like that. Like, I don't like calling people fans because that's, to me, that seems disingenuous, because it's like they're not a fan, they're actively supporting my fucking music.
They're Dragusi Slayers. Come on.
They're Dragusi Slayers. Like, so I don't like fans. I don't like just in general, I don't like egos, and I think that goes for most people, unless you're like an Attila fan or something, where the ego is a part of the experience, I guess. Right. And so like, I'm not like a big fan of egos or anything along those lines, so I try not to engage in that like whatsoever myself.
And that's why you're on the podcast.
But when it comes to that video, I'm kind of just like, it went too far. Like it was spread so far across the scene, and even to the point of all of Lorna Shore actually sharing it themselves, and like it went Austin shared it, Will shared it, and like Will actually originally commented on the video originally when it came out and all that kind of stuff as well. So like the thing is that the bands and the people in the scene saw this, and they saw how much like the thing is that the response to it was 99.99% positive. Like, people loved it. And so, and like, that was the thing, is that people were just like, oh man, I fucking love Celine Dion, which they should. And so it was that thing of like, oh yeah. And like, because it was such a massive blow up of a song, plus like, to toot my own horn, the fucking execution of like the cleans, like people were like, holy shit. To me, it does kind of feel like a little bit like people adding clean vocals into deathcore, particularly into the genre of like, into this genre of people like, no cleans, you're not allowed to have cleans. Like, I'm just like, I'm a little bit like, I influenced that. Maybe just a little. Yeah. Like, I give myself just the tiniest bit. It's like this little inside joke where I'm just like, yeah, but there weren't really cleans in deathcore until that video came out. And so, yeah, that's like, to me, that's like realistically where sort of anyone even knows who I am, like, at all. Like, there's things like every now and then, like,
this dude broke the boundaries.
Yeah, which is like sort of, that's pretty much what Dragoncorpse was more or less about, is that like doing, like, not really trying to follow a formula, like trying to pioneer something new, because it's like, that's the thing, is that you can get like bands that are like, these days you really need to you need to be one of two things. You either need to do what Lorna Shore is doing, and you perfect what is already there, because you need to be like, which is what Tactosa have pretty much done, is that like they have enhanced what was already there. They've enhanced the MySpace deathcore so that it's just more of the thing that people love. Because like, if you're a sort of mid band, in like, you know, if you're just like a straight up deathcore band, but like you're not, like, if you're trying to do some things different or adding in like a slight genre change, but then like you're sort of, it's sort of like, do you play D&D at all?
Unfortunately not, but I'm looking to in the future.
Okay, so in D&D that there's like multi-classing.
Yes.
And like the whole deal of multi-classing is that you can either put a level in the class that you're already in, say you're a fighter, you can either go from a level 1 fighter to a level 2 fighter, or you can choose to be like, you know what, I'm going to be a level 1 fighter and then put like a level into being a wizard or some shit like that. And now you're a fighter that can throw spells and shit like that. But the thing is that in D&D, the more that you level up in a certain class, the more technically like exponentially stronger you will become.
Right.
There's sort of like caveats to that of like,
you're building upon different foundations.
Yeah, and as you add additional levels, you exponentially get more powerful because you have more of a tool set to use the skills that you have.
Right.
Whereas there is the caveat of like, if you can technically make a stronger character if you get to say like, oh, I want this skill from level 3 fighter, and then I'm going to level up like this skill from the wizard. And so therefore the synergy there is going to be more powerful than a level 5 fighter or whatever the fuck it is.
Right.
But what bands seem to do is that when they're sort of saying, oh, we're going to like genre bend, or like, you know, we're going to be a black and deathcore band with like, say, let's just be wacky and say, we're going to be a black and deathcore band and we're going to add EDM elements. And it's like, all right, cool. That sounds like that could be cool. But like, how much are you actually
planning to implement those alternate features into what is already black and deathcore?
Yeah, because like essentially it's like, if it is just 90% black and deathcore and then like during a breakdown you've got some like EDM beats, it's just like, yeah.
Okay, interesting.
That could be cool.
Yeah,
that could sound cool during that. But what is actually really setting you apart from like all of these other like black and deathcore bands? Because like there could be a band down the road that is just black and deathcore and they do it so well. Right. And it's like, and because they do it so well, all of these people are just like, damn, like shit, like, cool, these guys might have some EDM beats like during the breakdown, but do I really need to wait just for the breakdown for me to actually be like, shit,
engaged?
Or am I going to listen to this other band that is just like, I'm engaged the entire time because they've perfected, you know, this. And so, excuse me, I'm still like fucking getting this stupid chest infection.
Oh no, you're fine. You're fine, man. Take your time.
And so it's like doing something and like getting recognized like right now is like, you really need to like step out and be like, all right, like there's not actually a blueprint for this, which is essentially what Dragoncorpse is. Because it's like, as people have said, it's like, who puts power metal with like deathcore elements? Because there's been bands like we've been compared to bands like Into Eternity, Kill Whitney Dead and stuff like that, which they're fair enough, like that they're heavy, they're power metal bands with like heavy elements and all that kind of stuff. But it's the difference being is that like for example, Kill Whitney Dead, they're more like if Arch Enemy had more power metal influences. And so for me, that is kind of like, it's sort of like a Venn diagram a little bit, in that like Arch Enemy already had the power metal influences in it. And so it's essentially just like sliding the diagram a little bit, which I will say Kill Whitney is fucking sick. And so like, this is not shade about just being like, oh, they only just moved it a little bit. It's just that like, it's that sort of mixture of like, all right, cool. Well, this was already kind of, it was already kind of there. Like that, the sound was already kind of there. They've just shifted it a little bit. Yes. And the same with like Into Eternity, where it's like they had like the sort of more OG metalcore sound into power metal and all that kind of stuff. But it's kind of already, it was already there. And so the thing of saying like, all right, people don't like cleans and deathcore, how can we add that element into fucking like power metal? It's sort of the clashing nature of it a bit. That's what people sort of like really stuck with, was that like it shouldn't work, but it does. Funnily enough, it does. Oh well, yeah, like because the thing is that so many elements in power metal are already shared with like with deathcore and stuff like that. Like especially like the tremolo riffs and stuff like that, and like a lot of breakdowns in deathcore are essentially like verses and stuff like that and power metal. They're just like slowed down,
right,
in a way. And so like it's just like just fucking with tempos and stuff like that. That's like where people are like, oh, it shouldn't fit, but it does. And it's like, well, technically it should fit because they're the same thing. They're just different tempos. Like you just fuck around with the tempos and they all, yeah. And so like it's kind of weird. Like when From the Sky came out, we had this one guy that was just like, oh, it's like I thought that I was gonna like this, but it's essentially just like they've just put like two different sounds together and then called them verse chorus and all that kind of stuff. And it's like, well, yeah, like because they're different sounds, but at the same time the thing is that how those different sounds flow into each other. And like I think that we did that. Like we were able to, like, you can listen to a song and be like, this is a cohesive song, and it doesn't sound like just a jumble or mismatch or anything along those lines, and then just be like, cool, this is our idea of what powercore is. Like we've got we've got the fucking deathcore breakdowns, we've got gutturals, we've got like fucking breeze and shit like that. And then then we also have the fucking, as you were saying, like the falsetto, like fucking bullshit over it as well. Which
it's so fun.
Like that shit's fun as hell to do as well. Like for like the thing is that for me it's just fun music. And like I feel that that's like the main sort of,
that's the most important thing.
We haven't taken ourselves too seriously, like from the get-go. Like it's always just sort of been like a little bit tongue-in-cheek, like especially when it comes to the fucking social media. Like
Drakketh just see on the end of every fucking band, like, bro. Great.
It's like just which like that evolved simply from like the fact of how the hell are we going to market this fucking band, because people already didn't really take us seriously. And so like if we went straight in and we're just like, hey, we're Dragoncorpse, we're heavy as fuck, but we've also got these power metal like influences, and we're here to do business and all that kind of stuff, a lot of people would have just been like, man, that's actually cringe as fuck. And so it's just like, we had to sort of like adapt to be like, all right, not necessarily to the extent that like Bro Job do, because like the Bro Job really cracked that of like we're a meme band and we're just a meme band straight through. And like that was the genius of like Bro Job, because like people were just like, ha ha ha, this is funny. And then they played the songs and they're just like, haha, this is funny, this is good. Whereas we're sort of like, we went like the half and half approach, where it's like the band itself is a fucking meme, but then you listen to the music, but the music's serious. Like, and so it's like using the memes to get people in and then keeping them there with the music is like our mantra, is like what we're doing. So it's been fun so far. So
well, that's good. That's really what matters. And I think being that I'm currently,
I can't hear you again. I'm sorry.
Oh man, I thought it switched. No, okay. Diggity dang. Okay. No. God damn it.
Actually, is this my end?
No, it's me. It's me. What didn't he had?
That was my end. Sorry about that. For some reason, my headset just turned off without actually telling me.
I think that's actually, like, being that it's currently 6:45 p.m. for me. I think that is actually a decent way to wrap up the people part of the podcast, because we've now taken quite a bit of time out of Mardy's day to kind of learn about him. And I think a great way to wrap it up would be to, and this is something I do with every guest, no matter what, blah, 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 blah. Even if the episode ends up being like 4 hours, like, fuck it. You guys are here. You're listening. You'll listen some more, please.
Just quickly. Probably. I probably have like 15 minutes, maybe
15
but
minutes.
We'll see. Yeah, we'll see.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. So, I mean, you mentioned some of your favorites over the course of the people part of the podcast, that being Protest the Hero, Dream Theater, Nevermore, Anastasia. Would there be any other bands that you would want to mention and like give a quick shout out to before we move into the other section of the podcast?
Yeah, yeah. So I suppose just in general, like I'm one of those people that like actually listens to everything, and so some of my favorites like
That's
Block
good.
Party from the UK. Absolutely
Okay.
fucking love Block Party. Run the Jewels. Run the Jewels is one of my favorite groups ever. Fucking really into. I was super into Kendrick Lamar as well. Yeah, and super into stuff like Marty Robbins and like old country and stuff like that.
Cool.
But yeah, but shout outs though. We're doing just general shout outs. Yeah, but 100% want to give a shout out to Tactosa because they've been fucking sick.
Yeah.
Want to give another shout out to Dan and Total Deathcore as well because he's been a total G throughout pretty much the lifetime of Dragoncorpse really. And yeah, like Hardcore Keem and stuff like that, like just in general, just like Hardcore Keem's been like, yeah, we sent him from the sky and then he was just like, oh, I'm fucking in, and like
Yeah.
since then he's just been like pushing Dragoncorpse and like name dropping us and stuff like since then. So like yeah,
Good.
he's been a fucking total G. Same with Galactic Criminal, who
Awesome.
does like reaction videos and stuff like that. Yeah. But yeah, yeah. I mean, there's a million bands under the sun, but just like as a knee jerk and for the sake of like not consuming another fucking hour, I'll just leave it. I'll just leave it at that.
Right, of course. So if you want to, being that you're kind of crunched on time and you're looking to depart, which is completely completely understandable. If anything, what I'd like to do is like, I guess this would be a challenge, more or less.
Okay.
Let's go ahead and try to do a lyrical speech run for the Drakketh Saga, if you're down.
Okay. Yeah, cool. I can do. Yeah, yeah.
Track by track. Yeah, starting with the Sunlover track. I haven't even listened to this album yet. I'll be listening to it tomorrow morning. I forgot to do my homework yesterday, and I feel shitty for that.
That's all right.
So yeah, I mean, take it away, sir. Basically, what does each song mean for the sake of the Under the Skin session?
Yeah, too easy. All right. Well, just quickly to preface
Yes.
Sunlover. So the Drakketh Saga is actually a concept album. As is the more or less the band in a way. As
Yes.
when we started it, one of my things is that I fucking love concept albums. Oh, actually, fuck it, I forgot completely. So one of my favorite bands ever is Coheed and Cambria.
Okay.
And so I love concept albums, which again, Protest the Hero, Fortress concept album, all that kind of stuff. Love concept albums. So the Drakketh Saga is a concept album. It's a high fantasy concept of like essentially our big boy Drakketh, who is a undead dragon, hence Dragoncorpse. Our big boy Drakketh is he's not a big fan of celestial bodies, aka the sun and the moon, as in the fantasy world that we have created. The sun and the moon are not necessarily just celestial bodies in the sky that are gas or stars or anything along those lines. They are, in essence, the gods of the world. And sort of like, I suppose, a little bit more like Japanese fantasy. The power of these gods are actually more so built on the faith and the belief of the people that witness them. So like looking out in the sky right now, everyone on the earth would say yes, the sun is real, unless they were a conspiracy theorist that the sun is just a big globe,
big light bulb,
we're on a flat planet and all that kind of stuff. Yeah. So in essence, everyone believes in the sun. We'll just say generally, everyone believes in the sun, and so therefore the sun is the number one deity. Inversely, everyone believes in the moon, the other 12 hours. And so essentially in this realm, the sun and the moon, they're not necessarily friends, but they have, rather than committing mutually assured destruction of, I want to be the number one ruler of this planet, which would be destructive in and of itself, because can you imagine it being daytime 24/7? That would suck for everyone. They have decided to split the time and split the worship between themselves. And so what that has sort of done as split the people of this people of this world to essentially who is going to worship what, who is going to be more of a fan of which deity and all that kind of stuff, which breeds its own sort of issues of, as is the way of let's look at sports. It's just like you've got sports team A and sports team B.
Yes.
These people like sports team A, these people like sports team B. Well, hey, sports team A fucking sucks. Yeah. I'm sports team B. Your sports team fucking sucks. So that is just a natural reaction that occurs with any opposing sort of or competing ideologies. And so the world is a messy place because these people really like the moon. These people really like the sun. And you know what? Our big boy Drakketh is kind of just over that. He doesn't really. He would prefer that there were no celestial bodies and that if people or creatures on the earth were to worship anything, they should worship themselves. Which is that's sort of it's getting too far into like metaphysical discussions of self and all that kind of stuff. But anyway, just from the sake of like a high fantasy setting, our dragon is he's just had enough. He's just like, man, fuck this. He's going postal when it comes to how the world is going to be run, and so he wants to fuck up the sun in particular because he's the top dog. He's the number one, and so taking it from there, Sun Lover is pretty much about the lovers of the sun, that the people that worship the sun recognizing Drakketh as a threat and then deciding that he's got to go. And so it's essentially like a lot of this, a lot of Dragoncorpse and a lot of like the lyrical sort of either content or like how the story goes is very reminiscent of like RPGs and JRPGs and all that kind of stuff as well. Like you have the big bad, you have in this instance from the perspective of the people, Drakketh is the big bad, he's the demon king. We need a hero that's going to slay the demon king with a party of loyal vassals and all that kind of stuff. And so Sun Lover is from the perspective of Drakketh being fucked up by the hero party. Essentially, he's trying to rid the world of what he sees as being the rulers. The celestial gods are essentially just using the people for their own gain, their own power over the universe. And so the lyrics for that are pretty much about Drakketh saying, well, I mean, shit, I lost, but so did you, because now all that's going to happen is that there's not going to be anyone to contest this, and then this is just going to be your future. And so, but then on the flip side, once again, coming from like a lot of this kind of comes from a lot of my lyrical inspiration for this is like high fantasy and all that kind of jazz, of course. But yeah, a lot of like Japanese folklore and all that kind of stuff. And like one of the things that I actually really liked, especially from like a zombie perspective on like how Japanese mythos sort of revolves around like zombies and stuff like that, is that a lot of it has to do with like emotion. And so a lot of ghosts, ghost stories and all that kind of stuff comes from emotion, in that like the Grudge and stuff like that. The Grudge came from just such an immense sadness and anger that this manifested into the ghost that was from the Grudge. I can't actually remember what her name was anymore, but it's essentially like that. It's just like such an immense like force that this is what actually created like the ghost in a way. And so with our big boy Drakketh, the amount of frustration and anger that came from being killed by what he feels are just peons, then actually managed to sustain his own sort of like not necessarily physical being, but like metaphysical being. Like his ghost, his spirit was able to live on.
All right, sorry. Continue, sir.
Yeah, no worries, no worries. So yeah, that's so his spirit was able to stay in the world, and so essentially, Sunlover is just a precursor of you killed me, but I'm gonna be back.
Okay.
And so that leads into that's Sunlover, which then leads into the first interlude, which is about our boy Sturm. So Sturm is the primary character for Blood and Stones, and Sturm is a dwarf who was born to in the world that I wrote. Dwarves are a matriarchal society, so they have a queen, and like all of the female side is the dominant side of the. For me, dwarves are kind of like worker bees, in a way. In that, like, you have the queen. And then you have the female princesses, in a way, of like a hive of bees and all that kind of stuff, who hold power as well. And then everyone under them are just kind of workers. Because like the way that I looked at it is like dwarves living in the mountains, living away from away from the sun and all that kind of stuff. That's just how the thing works. And so with the matriarchal society of dwarves, if someone has a son, they are relegated to just work. In this universe, blood is very sacred. Just because of the high fantasy aspect that I've sort of put into it, blood can be used for many different ways. Blood contains the soul, blood contains your essence. And so what can be done is that, well, shit, if I don't need a worker, how else can I utilize this person? Well, that's to use their blood. And so rather than the queen of the dwarves, rather than saying, hey, I am going to just put my son to work, she decided, I'm going to sacrifice my son so that I can get more power. Which is whatever. For the dwarves, that's a Tuesday. And so it doesn't really matter. And so the interlude is pretty much just setting up that, this is how the dwarves work. The queen was going to sacrifice Sturm. That leads into Blood and Stones. Blood and Stones is essentially about them going to sacrifice Sturm, him being able to escape from that, and then essentially go all Gollum gremlin mode in the tunnels, because the tunnels are so immense and all that kind of stuff. He's been able to essentially live out his life in the tunnels, but by living by himself and growing up in these tunnels, needing to essentially live like a rat, his mental state is fucking gone. And so anytime that he comes across anybody in the tunnels, he just murks them. That's it. Like,
oh shit,
no questions asked. He just murks them because he's just so warped that if he sees anybody else, they're here to take him back to that fucking that so and so what he has done as well, though, is because blood is such a important part. He is essentially started cannibalizing anybody else that he comes across and drinking their blood to become more powerful. And in essence, he like the Blood and Stones is that, like, I need to write a fucking book about this, because otherwise it's just going to go too fucking far. But yeah, in essence, the stones are the currency that they use. And so he's taking your blood, he's taking your stones, and that's how he's going to thrive. And essentially he just keeps doing this and doing this and doing this. More people are sent into the fucking tunnels because they're like, someone's killing like people in the tunnels, more people, and it eventually just keeps building. He becomes more and more powerful until the point where he actually returns, and then he essentially wipes out the rest of at least his coven of dwarves. And then that leads into the second interlude, which is Nox Aberrath, who is the hero from Sunlover.
So
Nox Aberrath was the hero in Sun Lover, which occurred many, many, many years before Blood and Stones and Sturm is introduced as a character. So
Yes.
for all rights and purposes, Nox Aberrath should not be alive. So the interlude is Sturm and Nox meeting, and Nox pretty much saying, hey, all this shitty stuff happened to you. How about you use your newfound power to help me? And we're gonna clean things up around here. We're gonna make it all tidy and a really good place for everybody. Which then leads into Terror Eternal, which is essentially Nox being rather than the hero of the people. He has now heard the good word of our boy Drakketh, in that the celestial bodies fucking suck, at least from his perspective. And so now Nox is all about, hey, we're going to bring our boy Drakketh back so that he can eat the sun.
Shit.
And so in essence, that's what Terror Eternal is about. Just him saying, yeah, we're gonna bring him back, and it's gonna be a good time for everybody. Which then leads into the next interlude, which introduces Morrigail, who is the figurative character from the sky, our debut single. And Morrigail is for all intents and purposes a backstabber, but she is also the figurative what people would see as the hero now, but realistically, which is going to be in the book that I'm writing at the moment for the whole thing, she is not a very good person, but for what everybody knows, she is the
new rising hero. Okay.
She is the new rising hero. And so, she gets sent out because the Queen of the Elves says, hey, what the fuck is going on over at the mountains with the dwarves? Because, there's just been this huge power surge over there, which happened due to our boy Sturm murking the royal family over there and taking their blood. Hey, you need a lickety split, get over there, Morrigail, and you need to sort this shit out. And so that leads into From the Sky, which is essentially just about it's just simply, we're gonna go over there and we're gonna fuck them up, and then that's it. There's nothing more to say about From the Sky, because realistically, From the Sky is this line, there's not a lot of lyrical content in it. So that leads into the last interlude, which is the Drakketh interlude, which is essentially Morrigail coming face to face with Nox, and Nox saying, hey, these are all the things that I've learned from Drakketh about all this shit that we're fucking that you guys used to know about. We're gonna fuck this shit up. And so that leads into Undying, which is the resurrection of our boy Drakketh. Him coming back and just saying hey, this stuff sucks. I'm gonna eat the sun and the moon, and then whatever happens after that is sort of you guys can. Yeah, it's on you. I'm gonna do this. Probably after doing this, I'm probably gonna be the only body of I'm gonna be a deity myself after this, but whatever you guys do after that, that's on you. And so that's where the EP ends. Awesome. In a nutshell, as cohesive as I could fucking make it, without going too far into details of the story that was
the lore.
That's pretty much song by song what it is in the EP, what the lore is about.
Much appreciated, man. Well, in that case, doing it a little bit different tonight for sure, ending the podcast session with the Under the Skin segment. This has been episode 41 of the Anatomy Podcast, featuring Mardy Lieth of Dragoncorpse, their new EP, which it is 9 songs, but 4 of them are interludes, so I understand the EP label. Yeah. This is now out on all major streaming platforms, and they do have physical merch available to, I think, pre-order right now through Shattered Earth Records, and all sources through Total Deathcore, so please be sure to check that out. And is there anything else you're wanting to say, or you gotta speed run out of here?
I've got another minute. I'm just about to probably have lunch with some family. it's taken a while for this to sort of come out from the inception of Dragoncorpse. We have a new member, which we will be announcing probably in the next week or so. And from there, we actually have a whole bunch, a couple of new tracks that we're going to be hopefully releasing over the next 2 months. So keep an eye out for that. One's actually a cover. It's our own recreation of a fairly popular song, which I think everyone should be pretty happy about. And then, another completely original track featuring a member of Cranium on that song. Yeah. And from there, EP2 has actually already been written. I just need to do the vocals on it, and the orchestration needs to be done. But realistically, this year should have quite a few new Dragoncorpse songs rather than just 3 singles and then a EP with essentially two new songs. This year, you should have quite a few Dragoncorpse songs. So everyone that's already a fan should. Once again, I hate the word fan, but I use it anyway because it's so ingrained in my fucking psyche. I hate it. Anyone that enjoys the Dragusi should have a lot of new content this year anyway. And so, yeah, we're hoping to onwards and upwards from there.
Fantastic. All right. Well, everybody, thank you for listening. Thank you, Mardy, for deciding to take the time, jump on the Anatomy podcast, tell your story, and then talk absolutely about this new Drakketh Saga EP, talk everything else Dragoncorpse. Everybody be sure to enjoy your night and stay tuned for episode 42.